Well, wake up now, don't you know it's time for the Cowboy Corner Show. Come on, everyone, let's go to the Cowboy Corner Show.
Hey, y'all, welcome to the Cowboy Corner Show with me, the cowboy, who is also in the corner. Hey, I'm coming to you live from the Cowboy Corner studio, and I don't know if I can necessarily say I'm coming to you live, considering that it's not live. I mean, I'm live right now, and I'm filming this live, but by the time you see it, it ain't going to be live. So let's just scratch that part. But I'm coming to you anyway from the Cowboy Corner studio, and this is our Father's Day special broadcast. Now, what I'm going to do there is add like some confetti and some horns in the background and whatnot, make it pretty special. I mean, this show's big time, so we're moving on up, and we're going to do special effects and all that. But I just want to spend this episode giving honor to where honor is due to the fathers of the world. All of you good fathers, all you great fathers, the God-fearing, red-blooded American men out there who are raising them youngins. You're making them youngins, and you're raising them youngins in the admonition of the Lord. Because, you know, that just really ain't the popular thing to do anymore. It ain't popular to actually raise your kids face to face and do it in the admonition of the Lord the way that the Bible says to do it. I mean, the popular thing now is you just get the kid and stick some kind of device, you know, a phone or an iPad in their face, and just let that babysit them as you go on about your business, and then come back and check on them again at the end of the day and feed them a couple times or whatnot, change the diaper if they're that young, and that's really about all you got to do. But there are still the good dads out there, and I know you fellers exist. I know several of you who you're the real deal, you know. You teach your kids how to hunt, how to shoot a gun, how to go out there and catch a fish, how to bait a hook. You know, you teach them how to drive a car. You teach them how to ride a motorcycle without a helmet, and then they have a mildly high speed collision into a chain link fence and break their arm and have to go get their eye stitched up. And well, I mean, that's what I did, but I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about you, you dads that actually protect your kids and do a good job of raising them and keeping them safe, you know, and you're keeping them in check. You're protecting them. These are the guys that I'm talking about. You know, you're looking after the sheep, you're looking after the brotherhood, the kinfolk. I mean, the guys that I know, like, you mess with the flock and you're going to get the Glock, if you know what I'm saying. Like, they don't play. It's still a little bit Western out here where we are, but you know, it's like the old boys. You can always tell just a good old boy whenever you see him. Like, even just passing on the highway, you got your hand up here on top of the steering wheel, and you just, you know, hit that finger up there when you pass. You just hit you ain't even got to say nothing. You do a little head nod and hit that finger up there, and that's when you know that's a good old boy right there that I just passed. You can kind of tell a lot about a person's demeanor by the way their posture is when they're driving. You know, you got your other old boys that they got her like kicked back and they got the arm way up here, and they got to give you the kind of the deuces out of the side winder, because they're too far back to even really see who you are as you're coming up front. And if they did a finger, they might kind of lose control of the wheel. So they give you the deuces out the side winder. Now, I got a lot of respect for those boys too. I mean, I wouldn't want to mess with them. I wouldn't want to see them in a dark alley somewhere. But then you got the other old boys that they're like kind of sucked up on the steering wheel. They got their hands at the 10 and 2, and they're looking straight ahead, and they ain't waving at nobody because they're scared, and they're just looking straight ahead. They're driving about 5 or 10 miles an hour under the speed limit. You know, you got them old boys, and I don't really have any use for them. They wouldn't be able to make it out on the range, that's for sure. But yeah, like I was saying, you can just tell a lot about a person by the way that they drive and the posture that they use whenever they're driving. I do a lot of talking about people driving. I guess that's just because, you know, out on the range, I'm just driving around a lot. But you know, on the terms of Father's Day, like, dads are just cool. You know, there's just something cool about a dad. Like, once you reach that certain kind of golden era of dadhood, and you always know when that is, because it's where the dads of all genres kind of come together as the same. And what I mean by that is, like, it don't matter what ethnicity you are, ethnicity, whatever you are, like what color you are, what race you are, if you're white, if you're black, if you're brown, whatever. All the dads, once they reach that certain little era, they come together, and you can tell because they got the same shorts on, they got the same shoes on. They all got them white New Balances or the Nikes and with the navy blue on there. They all got those, or they're wearing Crocs and potentially like the man sandals, but they always got the socks on with it, and then they got the same shorts. And you always know, like when you're walking through the Walmarts or the Home Depot and you see them fellers, you can always tell like this guy is a dad that has got him probably like a $900 smoker in his backyard, right? And he's probably got him some kind of a Corvette in his driveway or in his garage, actually, because she probably ain't been pulled out of the garage in 5 or 6 years. But I guarantee you, it's a clean one. And that's the kind of dad that you're going to see whenever you come across someone who's dressed like that. But then that makes me wonder, because my wife and kids have kind of started commenting on me. Like, they say that I got this one particular pair of shorts that I wear that they call my dad shorts. And I mean, I don't think they are. Like, I think I'm still cool. I think I'm still a cool guy. I haven't quite reached that golden era yet. And I just don't really agree with them. But they do say that I've got this one pair of shorts that I wear, and they say that I hack them up just a little bit, and they call them my dad shorts. And so I've kind of just started going with it. Like when I get them that one particular pair of shorts, then I go ahead and I just put on my socks, my taller socks, and I hike them shorts up, and then I wear me a pair of Hey Dudes with them. I'm not a Croc guy, and I don't have any of the white and navy blue New Balances that I was talking about, but I put my Hey Dudes on, and I just kind of milk it. I go with it, and then I'll be like, hey, y'all want to go to the Walmarts? And of course they're like, no, not with you, not like that. We ain't doing it. But I just kind of wonder, like, when do you reach that particular little peak in dadhood that it's okay to wear that? Because I think low key, like, that kind of stuff's coming back in style. Like, I noticed the younger kids, they're even kind of dressing like old men. Like, they're going to the thrift stores and buying their outfits, and they're buying like the khaki paints, and they're wearing like the vintage button down shirts, and then they're wearing like the shoes, like even the ones with the Velcro on them that don't even lace up, kind of the old man style. And that's kind of coming into style for the younger group. But then when you're like legitimately hitting it as a dad, like where's that little peak at that you can do it and it's not goofy anymore? Like, I'm kind of wanting to be in that cool dad spot, like in that $1,100 smoker range, where I can just go out like that and still have my cowboy hat on, but then just be cool with it, like be the cool dad. But anyway, as I get a little older myself, I just realize like dads are cool. There's just something cool about a dad. Like, you got the dad wardrobe, like I just talked about, and then like the dad music is kind of cool again. Like, I'm at the point that anything 90s really is right up my alley. I consider that cool music, and I didn't used to. Like, I used to be driving around with my dad back in the early 90s, and he'd be, listening to the 90s, just like the honky tonk country. And man, it'd just really get on my nerves. I'd be like, when are we going to be done with this trip here? But now, like, that 90s honky tonk country comes on, I crank it up. Like, I find myself cranking it up in the ranch truck, driving around. I got that finger up on the wheel, and I'm doing the beat, and I got my toe tapping. Sometimes I'm kind of hitting the gas. I can notice the truck, and I'm like, oh, I better pay attention to what I'm doing here. But that 90s music, the 80s country music, and of course the rock and roll that goes with it, like, that's a cool genre of music. And the stuff they're making now, it ain't nowhere near like that. But like that dad genre of music, even what they call the yacht rock, that's just cool music. Like, we can jam to that stuff now. And so from that era, I just really am, I guess it's just my age, I'm getting to the point where that's where I'm at. Like, I'm driving down the road listening to that stuff again and enjoying it, like listening to it on my own free will, not listening to it because somebody else is making me. But we got the dad wardrobes are cool, the dad music is cool, and then there's the certain like dad sports, and we're kind of starting to get into that kind of stuff too. Like, dad sport is obviously golf, that's a dad sport. You got bowling, which is a dad sport, and if you go back to my last episode, like I talked about it, I used to be a mighty fine bowler. Like, I was a good bowler. I also used to try to play golf, and I spent a lot of money on golf equipment, but I never was good at playing golf. As hard as I tried and as much money as I spent. And I just remember I'd go golfing, and the fellers that I was golfing with, they were good, but I wasn't. And so that just makes it worse. Like when you're with somebody and they're good at it and they make it look easy, and then here I am struggling. And then everything I'd hit, like especially off the tee, if I'd hit it with a driver or any kind of wood off the tee, it goes straight as an arrow for probably about 50, 60 yards. And then it would just right hook off about another 50, 60 yards out into the pasture or on the other fairway. Whatever is over there, that's where it was going every time. And I worked on my swing. And then I had these old boys tell me, well, you need these certain clubs. So I bought a $400 driver, and I bought a really nice set of clubs. And I went up there and was like, all right, this is going to fix it. And I went on the driving range and practiced and, got it down. And then we go down the first round of golf I played with that brand new $400 driver. Same thing. I'd hit it, and that sucker, man, it's a beauty. Whew, it's gone. And I'm like, geez. So I ended up giving them clubs away. I played one round, and I gave them away. And so I lost my tail on that deal. And I just said, I ain't never playing golf again. Um, but I do like golf. I watch golf. I enjoy watching golf. And then I've got this video game golf that I play, and I'm good at the video game. I got the controller, and I've got it down because there ain't no hooking or slicing or any of that stuff. And man, I can hit a putt from about 69 feet away, even with the little hills and valleys on the greens and the curves, because it shows you on there. It shows you the pattern of the ball, like how the ball is going to go when you hit it a certain way. So I can just line it up till I got it where it's going to go in the right spot, and I let go of that little joystick, and that ball will go right where I want it to go. So I'm really good at the video game golf, but I ain't worth a crap at regular golf. And so that's kind of frustrating too. But then I start thinking about that, like all these sports that we're really good at on video games, like especially the kids. They play Madden, they play the NCAA football and the Madden football, and they play the or what is it, NBA 2K25 basketball and all that. And I mean, these kids are good. They building their own players and, getting them all steroided up and whatnot and getting out there and scoring 100 points in a game. And I'm just like, and they're proud of themselves. Like, boy, look what I did. I'm like, you didn't even break a sweat. Like you were sitting down on the couch the whole time and all you were moving was your fingers. So I just think that's pretty funny that we get these video games and think like it's real life, just like Call of Duty or one of those games. Like you can get out there and get shot, 112 times and you still win the match if you shoot the other guy 113 times. I'm just like, in real life, like you take one bullet and you're done. So that's just pretty comical to me, like how that has kind of sank in as a reality. But I didn't mean to get off on that track. Cornhole, like cornhole's a dad sport, and a lot of people play cornhole now. There's big money in cornhole, and cornhole don't take a lot of athletic ability because you really ain't doing nothing but like most old boys, they're holding them a cup in this hand, and then they just got their throwing hand. But man, I mean, they even got it on ESPN and whatnot. Like cornhole's a dad sport. I just think, who in the world ever thought of cornhole? And whoever thought to name it? Of all the things you could name it, like you thought of cornhole as an appropriate name for your sport, where you got a piece of plywood with a 4-inch hole in it and you're throwing bean bags at it. And I'm not dogging cornhole because I enjoy playing it, but I'm just thinking that's got to be one of the most ridiculous sports that's ever been invented. And then they make a professional league of it. Like, what are we even doing in America right now? Like, they ain't playing cornhole in Europe, or I don't think they are, honestly, but they may be, but probably not. They're doing things like polo and stuff, but they ain't playing cornhole. That's what these redneck Americans do. And they got a professional league. They got these boys out there holding a can of beer or whatever they got in one hand and then chunking the beanbag with the other hand. But some of them, I mean, they're really good. I'll give it to them. But that's a dad sport for sure. And I really enjoy it. I enjoy playing it, but I ain't that good at it. I'm never going to make the professional cornhole league, just like I ain't never going to make the PGA Tour by any means. But, it's just cool to be a dad. And I just think that we're very and I say we because I am one, but I have to think about myself in this deal. Like, we're very underrated. We underrate ourselves, I should say, in the power that we carry in the family, especially with the children, like raising the family. Like, when you're a dad and you're raising the kids, it makes a big deal. And like my dad back in the day, he was a real deal when I was growing up. Like, he didn't take no crap, and he didn't let me take no crap. Like, I quit school because of recess because I didn't play. He didn't let me play. But he was the kind of dad that would just make me change the oil in my own truck. He's like, when I got my license and got my own truck, well, it was even before I got my own truck. He would make me help him change the oil in his truck. He's like, I ain't taking my truck down there to the old boy at the oil change place that I don't even know if he knows what he's doing. Like, I know my truck. I know exactly how much oil to put in it. I know when to pour the quart of oil, and I know exactly on that last quart where to stop. And he would just make me get down there and learn with him. And that's how he taught me a lot of things. And it was like my dad was the one that, like, he wasn't going to have no professional coming in and installing our appliances. Like, we bought a new washer, dryer, refrigerator, whatnot. Like, it didn't matter. Like, we were going to install that thing ourselves. We weren't paying somebody else to come in and, he'd say that old boy ain't going to come in and start rummaging through my underwear drawer or whatever because he's installing my washing machine and got a little spare time on his hands. And hey, I understand it, but then on the flip side of that, like the last time we moved, we had our refrigerator, had it on the trailer, and it was me and my brother-in-law, and we were trying to muscle this big old refrigerator off a trailer. Well, we ended up dropping the dadgum thing and denting the door on it. So now I got a fairly new refrigerator that's got a big old, like a crease in the door where it fell off and hit the side of the trailer, So we just got one of them big decorative magnets, and we just put that over it and cover it right up so you don't even know. But I know it's there in my heart. But still, I wasn't going to let some other old boy come and unload that refrigerator and install it for me. Heck no. And even after I did it myself the first time, you got to hook the water line up to the ice machine, and so it dripped a little bit. Like the first week we lived here, we came out one morning, there's a puddle of water under the refrigerator because I didn't have the ice machine water connection in correctly, so it was just dripping a little bit. But you learn, and that's just what it means when you got a good dad, is you just learn how to do things. And yeah, you're going to make mistakes every once in a while, you're going to mess it up, but you learn from that mistake, and then well, we ain't doing it like that the next time. And so for you dads out there that are doing such a good job raising your kids, hey, I just tip my hat to you, and I appreciate what you're doing, and I just want you to know that. But hey, there's so many just like cool dads like in the Bible. Like, the Bible is full of cool dads. And I know that they didn't necessarily live a bougie life like we're living now. Like, they were constantly under attack from the Canaanites and all that stuff. But like, when you read through the Bible, you just find out that there's just like cool dads in there. Like Abraham, he was such a cool dad that like God himself said, like, you're the father of many nations. And we're all at this point descendants of Abraham. So we're basically all in the lineage of being Abraham's kids. But, there was that one time with his son, Isaac, and he was like, hey, Isaac, let's go up to the top of that mountain up there. And Isaac's like, what's going on, Dad? He's like, well, let's go camping. Isaac's like, all right. So they go up the mountain to go camping, and luckily God pulled Isaac out of that situation. But Abraham, he loved God so much, he was about to do away with his boy, and God didn't let him. But Abraham was a cool dad, and I think he probably got some kind of sideways looks from the family at the dinner table after that little incident. But he pulled through it. Isaac fortunately pulled through it, and here we all are. Like I said, we're all descendants of Abraham because of that. And yeah, he was just a cool dad. And then I also think of Jacob, Joseph's dad. Like, he gave Joseph, or I guess he made it, gave it to him, whatever, like that Gucci coat. He's like, here, Joseph, here's your Gucci coat. And that really ticked his brothers off, though. It ticked off Joseph's brothers, and they weren't too keen on him after that. But then he was like, hey guys, a little bit later down the road, Joseph was like, hey guys, I'm your brother, and I'm also now your ruler of your nation. So, we better kiss and make up. But, that was all basically just because Jacob, like, he was a cool dad, and he wasn't in the good graces of all of his older kids after that happened. But, hey, they made it through it. Like I said, as dads, we all kind of make mistakes. As people, we all kind of make mistakes, and we don't do things necessarily right the whole time. But Jacob knew that Joseph had something in him, and he was like, "Here, boy, here's you a nice little Gucci coat. Why don't you wear this thing proudly?" One of the ones that I really like is Zebedee. I mean, let me read this to you. This is good right here. This one is in Matthew 4, and it actually starts in verse 21. But back in Matthew 4:19, you got Jesus and that cool quote that he did, where he's walking past Peter, and Peter's been fishing all day and he's gathering up his nets, and then Jesus kind of sees him, and he's just like this boss move. He's like, "If you follow me, I'll make you a fisher of men." I mean, that's just a boss quote from Jesus, if you ask me. Like, that was cool, and of course it worked because Peter started following him. But then after that, so in Matthew 4 and verse 21, it says that going on from there, Jesus saw two brothers. It was James and John, his brother, and they're the children of Zebedee. And that's talking about John, who went on to write the Gospel of John. So that was a pretty big deal. But Jesus came across them, and he told them too. It says, going on from there, he saw two other brothers, James, the son of Zebedee, and John, his brother, in the boat with Zebedee, their father. So, you got James and John, and they're in the boat with their dad, Zebedee. And it says that they were mending their nets. So they had just got done fishing. They were just in there, working hard and fixing their nets. And Jesus called them. And immediately they left the boat and their father, and they followed Jesus. So these two boys just got up and left Zebedee just like chilling. He's just like, okay, well, I guess I'll finish fixing the nets myself, huh? So I think that's just pretty cool. Like, he didn't throw a fit. He didn't get mad. I mean, he knew, like, they're going with Jesus. This is a pretty big deal, but they did just kind of leave me hanging. So I think that Zebedee gets an award for just being kind of the chill dad. Like, hey, my boy's got something bigger and better going on. I'm going to just give them the okay, and they can do it, and I got this covered from here. And then there's Joseph, who was, Jesus's earth dad, I guess is what you'd call him. And he kind of had a weird deal because, Jesus came from Mary, but Joseph wasn't the actual father, but then he still worked with Jesus, and he taught him everything. He taught him how to be a carpenter. He had to raise him. Jesus was born as a baby, and somebody had to raise him and still teach him the right things. And Joseph did that, and obviously he did a great job of it. So Joseph gets a nice prize for what he did, and taking that whole deal like a champ and never really questioning it. He believed Mary. He believed when that angel came and told him what was going on, like, he went with the whole deal, and that's very honorable of him. So he definitely gets a cool dad award for that. And then I think probably the best one, or not the best one, but my favorite one is probably Noah, because Noah had this, the biggest DIY project in probably the history of the earth still to this day. Like, it took him 40 years to build the ark. And then he had all these other old boys that were going back and forth just making fun of him and mocking him, and he built the ark, and he, of course, had his family helping him. So he got his kids to help him, build this big old ark. And then they were just kind of like, what are we doing, Dad? Where are we going? And he's like, well, we're about to be going on a little vacation. And they're like, well, where are we going? He's like, well, I guess everywhere. And we're going to be gone forever. So pack you, two of everything. But, I think that he just gets an award for that, of course, because he kind of saved humanity with that deal too, by getting his family on the boat and leaving everybody else, And then he was like, hey, y'all didn't even shut the door good. But then God went back there, bam. But, Noah worked hard, and he didn't have good tools to do that either. Like, he was building that ark with mainly hand tools. Like, he didn't have Milwaukee power tools, like we have. And with it being Father's Day and everything, well, I got a Milwaukee lithium forged 12AH battery right here that I'm going to be giving away in honor of Father's Day. Now, necessarily, you ain't got to be a father. You ain't even got to be a man to enter into the drawing to win this battery. I'm going to be giving it away to one lucky winner, and it's going to be randomly picked, but there are some rules that you have to follow to get into the drawing. So what you have to do is this video that you're watching right now, you got to like it, okay? And I also want you to go down and leave a comment on this video. Now, I don't care what the comment says. It can, say this video's trash. It can say you got a gay mustache. I mean, I've heard it all already, so you ain't gonna hurt my feelings. Say whatever you want to say. It don't matter. I'm not judging the winner off of the comment. You just got to leave a comment of some sort. I also want you to subscribe to the Cowboy Corner YouTube channel. So the three things you got to do: you got to subscribe, you got to like this particular video, and you got to leave a comment on this particular video. And then here in a few days, I'm going to be giving away this exact battery. It's still brand new. It's still in the package. And I just know that we got some hard working dads out there, just some hard working men in general, maybe some hard working women that use Milwaukee power tools. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. Like I said, it don't matter who you are. I'm just trying to bless somebody because it's Father's Day, and I just feel like I want to bless somebody. So that's what you're going to get whenever you do what I just told you to do. Now, if you ain't interested, then don't worry about it. No harm, no foul. But I look forward to seeing the comments. I mean, be creative. Let's just have some fun with this. And here in a few days, I'm going to do a random drawing, and I'm going to send that battery to whoever. Now, I ain't giving you the tool. I mean, I ain't made of money over here, okay? You got to get your own tool. But this battery will work with any Milwaukee M18 tool. So whatever you got. I mean, there's a plethora. You name it, they make it in an M18, and this battery will run it. And this is the biggest and the baddest battery that Milwaukee makes. This is the most powerful battery that they make. So this will definitely get the job done whenever you put it on whatever tool you got. So hey, that's all I've got. Once again, I just want to say happy Father's Day to all you dads out there. You're doing a great job. If you ain't doing a great job, well, it's not too late to change. I mean, pull out your Bible, read some of these stories, like read some of the stories of these dads in the Bible, that they didn't all necessarily knock it out of the park, but they all came through and ended up, I mean, their stories made the Bible. So that's pretty cool within itself, right? But hey, everybody, have a blessed day. I am so glad that you tuned in and joined me for this show, and I will see you later.